ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मित्रधिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10, verse number 18. This is dialogue between Prahlad and Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev wanted to give him some boon, but he refused. And finally he asked that his father may be forgiven for the offenses which he has committed. So Lord Nrsimhadev said that earlier, of course, he said when he did not ask for anything, then he said that this is certainly true that my devotees, Ekanti Bhakta, they do not want anything. Yet he gave him the kingdom of Daityas for one Manvantara. He said that he be here. So now when he asked for his father, so now Lord, he grants that. He says, Trihi saptabhi pita putah pitribhi sah te nagha yat sadhosya grihe jato bhavan vai kula pavanah. So he said that your father, along with 21 generations, have become purified. And that is because a saintly devotee like you has been born in his family as his son, and you are Kulpavana. So Kulpavana means that purifier of the family. So what to speak of your father, even 21 others have become purified. So this is a little problematic because Prahlad did not have, or his father did not have 21 forefathers, because his father was son of Kashyapa. Kashyapa is son of Marichi. Marichi is son of Brahma. And Brahma is son of Vishnu. So Brahma, Marichi and Kashyap, there are only three, because Vishnu does not need mukti. He himself is giving it. So how we will get the number 21? So this is a little problematic boon. Similarly, he should have known that he does not have 21 forefathers. Should have said that what to speak of Hiranyakashipu. The above three are also blessed. Right? So why it is said 21? So about this, there are different deliberations. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Tri Shaptabhir iti asmin janmani ayam tav pita puta iti kim vaktavyam tava tri shapta janmasu ye tri shapta sankhya pitro abhuvan tepi puta iti artha. So he gives a different meaning to this. He says, what to speak of your father in this life, but 21 previous fathers in your 21 previous births, they also got the blessing. So this is how he explains this. Jiva Goswami, he says, Yadi Saptatraya Sankhyastav Pitra Sambhavanti Tada Tairapi Sahaputa Syat. That if there are 21, if they are not, because the word he says is Yat, so he takes the word Yat to mean as Yadi. If there were 21 forefathers, they would have been purified, but because there are only three. Then some people say that 21 applies to the previous kalpa. 3 in this kalpa, because in this kalpa there are only 3. And previous one, 18 from that. So Jiva Goswami says, no, prak kalpa gatatva yadi iti hetu vakyam na sangachata. So he says, no, it doesn't apply there. Sri Prahladasya atra janmana saha sarvaputrinam asambandhat. That they don't have any contact with this life, because his contact of this birth is only with Kashyap, Marichi and Brahma. Please, Brahma can say Prahlad is coming in my line, or Marichi can say. People from the previous kalpa, they cannot say that we are related to Prahlad. So Sota eva sambandhat cha Hiranyakashiposcha puru janma abhavat. And then if you say from the previous, so Hiranyakashipu did not have previous janma, he was Jaya Vijay. Right? He didn't have any previous birth in the previous kalpa. So that is his explanation. So this makes sense. But somewhere I remember that he he also says this Prakalpa and Sandarbha. I have to think of it. I think he speaks of this maybe in Krishna Sandarbha or Bhakti Sandarbha.
What, to this verse?
Probably.
Or just a...
In some context he says like I have some remembrance. Somehow I recollect like that. So it's maybe in Bhakti Sandarbha. So that will be interesting that he says here differently. So then Lord Nrsimhadev, he continues, Yatra yatra cha madbhaktaha prashantaha samdarshinaha sadhava samudacharaste puyanti api kikataha. He says that wherever my devotees go, my devotees who are peaceful, equanimous, who have good behavior, well behaved, they are sadhus, because there are two types of devotees, you know that. There are sadhu bhaktas and there are sadhu bhaktas. So he is talking about sadhu bhaktas. Samudachari, not durachari bhaktas. There are sadachari bhaktas and durachari bhaktas. So he says samudachara. Te puyanti api kikata. Says they will purify even Kikata, the land called Kikata, Bihar. So, because there is a statement somewhere, interesting statement, it says Anga Banga Kalingesu.
Canto 2, chapter 7.
This was? No. Anga Banga Kalingesu, Saurashtra Magdesu cha, Tirtham vina, Tirthayogam vina gatva puna sanskaram lahati. Says that if you go to Anga is also part of Bihar. This is where Karna was ruling. Munger.
Isn't Anga Purva Banga?
No. Banga. Banga includes both.
Anga Banga. Anga was East Bengal.
No. Anga is that Bihar School of Yoga. No, where is that? Right. Bihar School of Yoga.
Oh yes,
Swami Satyananda. Munger, right?
That's Anga.
That is Anga. That's where Karna was. It's mentioned in Mahabharata. And Banga.
Sadhu Maharaj is the descendant of Karna.
So Karna of course has no descendant, everybody got killed in the war. So Anga, Banga and Kalinga. Kalinga is Odisha. And Saurashtra. Saurashtra is part of Gujarat. And Magadha.
That's also Bihar. It's southern Bihar. It's Patna.
Patna. So anyone who goes there without, except for a purpose of tirtha, then what happens? He loses his piety. He has to undergo another samskara. So therefore he says Kikata. So these Anga Banga, they are all called Kikata. So if the devotees are there, then they purify even Kikata. So Madbhaktaha Swasanginam Deshamapi Punati Kimuta Pitradinityaha Yatra iti. Says my devotee purifies even the land where he goes or where he lives, but to speak of his father. That's why he called him as Kula Pavana, purifier of the dynasty. puyanti puyante puta bhavanti, they become purified. So of course here he did not say that they become liberated, he only said they become purified, whatever it means. So he leaves it to interpretation. He didn't say that muchyante, could have said muchyante or mukta bhavanti. So he says, Nanu tvad bhaktanam mahima na chitram. So the devotees are great because sarvatmana na hinchanti bhutagramesu kinchana uchchavachesu daityendra mat bhavena gataspriha. So devotees, they do not cause any harm to anybody because they are free from desires, and sarvatmana, they see everyone as their own atma. So sarvatmana nahinsanti bhutagrameshu kinchana. So devotee is naturally non-violent. In yoga you have to practice non-violence, right? And devotee becomes non-violent because devotee sees everyone as an adhisthana of Bhagavan. So sarvbhutasu ye pashyanti bhagavad bhavam atman. So they see that Lord is present in everyone. So they don't do any harm to anybody, they don't want to cause any disturbance. Whether somebody is in a high position or low position. So he says, therefore, Prahlad, my devotees, they are gataspriha. They do not have any material desires. Nanu tvad bhakta namayam mahima nachitram aham tu tadrisho na bhavami iti chet tatra sarveti. So Prahlad says that it is not surprising that your devotees have such qualities, that they purify even the place where they live. But I am not like that, because I am born in the Daitya family. So then Lord says, Sarvatmana. Ye purushas tvam anuvrata bhavanti, tepi mad bhakta bhavanti. So he says that those people who will even follow you, they will also purify everybody. Because in the next one it says, Bhavanti purusha loke mad bhaktas tvam anuvrataha. That not only that you purify, but anybody who becomes your follower, he will also purify. Bhavan me khalu bhaktanam sarvesham pratirupa dhrik. So he says that among all of my devotees, you are an ideal devotee, you are an example. You have to give an example of devotee in Prahlad. Bhakta. So this is, he is...
Are you reading Sarvesham Satyarupadrik? Pratirupadrik.
Yeah, Pratirupadrik. Sarvesham Pratirupadrik. So he says, Mama mad bhakta bhavanti kidrisha mama bhavena premna eva vigata vishayaspriya. So because devotees have love, prema for the Lord, and prema is completely satisfying, also prema is purifying. That is the most pure thing. In Bhagavatam, last chapter, it is described Kavalya Eka Prayojanam. That the Prayojan, the purpose of Bhagavatam is only Kavalya. Vastvadityam tannishtham kavalya ek prayojanam. Then Bhagavatam is talking about Advitiya Vastu. Vadanti tat tattvadas tattvam is Ghanam Advayam, and it is Kavalya ek prayojanam. Its purpose is only Kavalya. And Kavalya usually means Mukti. So Jiva Goswami says Kavalya means prema. Because Kavalya means pure. It's like you say, give me only milk without mixed with anything else. Keval. Right? Pure milk. So Kavalya means purity, and he says that the real purity is only in prema. Everywhere else there is some mixture of desire. Because devotee has no other desire. So therefore he says that when the prema is there, then vigata vishayas priha. One becomes completely purified. So prema is the purest thing. There is no adulteration in that. In everything else there is some adulteration of some desire, including mukti. And that's why a devotee is ahimsaka. Because if he does not have any material desire, why would he be violent? We perform violence because we want to enjoy. And every enjoyment entails some violence in it. No matter how small, but there cannot be any enjoyment, material enjoyment, without violence to somebody. And prema, because prema is not enjoyment but doing service, so it is the thing which is most non-violent. Otherwise this ahimsa of yoga is not possible to follow it. So in Jain take the ultimate meaning of ahimsa, putting this on the mouth, walking with a broom, but even if you are sweeping, still you will kill. Right? You may not step on them, but you will kill them by broom. Then they don't they don't think like that. If you can kill by stepping, you can also kill them by sweeping. So it is not ultimate ahimsa. So ultimate ahimsa is only in bhakti.
I was having an argument or discussion about milk and milk products, because now Paramadvaiti Maharaj recently announced that he was going to make all his temples vegan, because in the West the way that milk is produced is very violent because of the way they treat cattle, the way they treat the cows. So the argument presented by one side is that if you take the milk from the cows, even if they're mistreated, that the cow gets some benefit because you're offering it to Krishna, and that so that the suffering or the sin of himsa doesn't apply. So the other devotees are saying, no, we cannot abide, we cannot tolerate that cows, our mother the cow should be treated this way, and we shouldn't support it in any way at all. So what do you say about that?
Both are right.
Achintya Veda just saves us all.
It's a fact. Well, it's true that if you offer the milk to the deity, the cow will get the benefit. But of course that does not mean that she is not getting mistreated. So now, if you want her to get benefit by offering the milk, then you offer it. But if you don't want that she is mistreated, and you don't want to support it, then don't do that. Because Bhagavatam itself says that Jivet Nati Himshaina. Kapila Deva instructions says that you should live without too much violence. So, too much violence, then Jiva Goswami explains what is too much violence means. You do some violence. So he says, as Vaishnavas, we have to pick flowers, leaves, tulsi, to offer. That is also himsa. He agrees. but it is done to offer to the Lord and they get the benefit of it. So it's a fact that the benefit will be there, but that is also a fact that they are getting mistreated. So depends now whether you want to give them the benefit or you don't want to see that.
But in that judgment, then giving the benefit would be the you don't see a higher and lower in the two?
Yeah, I see that. Because
it's a higher thing to offer?
Yeah, because you see, my point is this, that unless majority of the people boycott, if few hundred devotees, or even say few thousand, don't drink the milk, this is not going to help any cow, isn't it? What do you think? I mean, there are so many.
Well, it depends. You could. I mean, it's any movement starts small, and then as people become more aware, then they protest and so on.
Yeah, that is also true. So if people are becoming vegan for that reason, of course, in the West, many people are becoming vegan now. So then it sends a message.
It's very hard.
And then of course, instead of saying vegan, you can also say that, well, we will not buy milk from outside, but if we want to have our own gosala, then we don't have to be vegan.
Yeah, that's what I see. They've started a few, there are a few places that in USA, Gita Nagari, they have ahimsa milk products, and they sell for a considerable price. I mean, you have to pay double practically, but you can order from them and get cheese and other milk products sent by delivery.
Yes. And that also informs others, at least makes them think that there is something called ahimsa milk or ahimsa milk products. So, sarvatmana ahimskascha bhavanti. So, because they see Lord's presence and also sarvatmana, because with their complete self, they become ahimsaka, non-violent. So, sarvatmana, the way he is applying is a different way. Means, if you are non-violent simply for the sake of being non-violent, then you will still be violent. But if you become a devotee, then only you truly become non-violent. That's how I am applying this. Because then you give up the very basis of violence. And that basis of violence is tendency to enjoy, which comes from identification with the body. So Arjuna wanted to be non-violent, not fighting. Right? But Krishna did not agree with that, because he knew that this type of non-violence is not going to be non-violence. You are now actually, because of your attachment, thinking of not fighting, but you have not become non-violent, because everywhere he is repeating my brothers, my uncles, my grandfather. So that means if it is not my, then you will fight. That's what it means. If the opposite side was not my father, my grandfather, my cousin, my nephew, my maternal uncle, Matula, Shalas, Tatha, if they were not my, then he would have fought. Right? Then he would have no reason not to fight. So he did not really become non-violent. So this is what Krishna was saying. That you have this idea of being non-violent and let them kill me. How can we do not see this defect? Why we are engaging in this adharma? It is only because of his attachment. Not that he has become non-violent. opposite side his relatives were not there, then he would have cut them into pieces like you cut potatoes. He was very good in cutting. His whole training was in cutting. You've seen some real good chefs, how they cut vegetables fast in the night, right? So Arjuna was expert like that. This was his pleasure, cutting. He could shoot arrows from both hands. Sabyasachi. It's like some chef who can cut vegetables from both hands. He can take knife in both hands and cut. So we'll say that chef is a Sabyasachi. So Arjuna was expert. So don't think he became violent, and Krishna was not fooled by his logic and argument. He understood what the guy is doing. He's simply just because of his material attachment he's talking like this. So if one is having material attachment, which means desire to material enjoyment, then one is violent. Every action is a violence. Even when they are doing love, they are making violence. Because they make a living person as a dead object, then only you enjoy. You consider even somebody who is having life as the object of your enjoyment, which means you already killed that person. You have to control that person and enjoy. So that is the root of violence. That's why even people who are together and enjoying, they always fight with each other. Because the violence is there from both sides, and then it comes out. So unless one comes to this prema, that's why he writes very nicely here. Premana eva vigatas vishaspriha and sarvatmana hinskasya. Only when prema is there, then you become vigataspriha, then you become free from material desire, and then only you become non-violent. As long as you have spriha, as long as you have material desire, you are violent. That violence may not be visible, but it is there. So there is violence all around. So only a devotee, therefore, is truly non-violent. That's what Nrsimhadev is saying. That sarvatmanana hinsanti bhutgrames kinchan. They are the ones that do no violence. And Prahlada was an example of it. And Hiranyakashipu was also an example, contrary example. How violent he was, because more the desire to enjoy, and who could match Hiranyakashipu? His name itself is Hiranyakashipu, which means personification of material enjoyment. Artha and Kama, that's what Hiranyakashipu. He was a personification of Artha and Kama. Therefore his life was only violence. Even up to that he wanted to kill Prahlada, who is most non-violent. So he gives the principle of non-violence in this verse. So it's difficult to understand for people. To think that those who are having peace march, they are bringing peace in the society. How can there be peace just by marching? So they are also doing violence. So he says, Uchavacheshu, that no violence, whether bhutgramesu, Uchavacheshu, high or low. Sometimes you may not do violence to some people who are superior to you or more powerful than you. But devotee does not have, so that very root of violence is removed. It's like Rupa Goswami says, Anya Vilasita. Avilasa may be there, but there is no Avilasita. So therefore devotee is free from hinsatva, violence-ness. The very seed of violence is not there in the devotee, because he doesn't think. his heart cannot think, cannot accommodate violence. Atastav mahima kena nirucchatam. So therefore Nrsimhadev is telling to Prahlad that how can your glory be described? Because you are so pure in the heart. Here an example. Yato bhavan me bhaktanam pratirupa dhrik upman aspadam. So you will become the measure, the test, the standard of comparison. Upmana means the standard of comparison. You want to see somebody like you want to see, and there are some standards with which you compare. So it says you are the standard of comparison. Tesu shresthatvat, because you are the best among my devotees. So it is such a great appreciation by Nrsimhadeva Prahlad. So kuru tvam prayata karyani pituhu putasya sarvashaha madanga sparshena nanga lokan yashriti supraja. So he says that there is no question of your father whether he is purified or not purified. It says madanga sparshena anga lokan yashriti supraja. He is purified because he has been touched by me. So he died in the lap of Nrsimhadev. So he is completely purified. Therefore he says that he performed the obituary, pret karya, the action or ritual to be performed for that body. For your father, who is completely purified, sarvasaha putasya pitu pret karyani from kuru and lokan yashrati praja. He will go to good planet. Do not worry about him. So although there is no need for him to do any ritual or anything, because usually in India when somebody dies, then pret karya means you have to burn the body, chant mantras, then do some shraddha, some tarpana, so that the person who has died will get some benefit. But in his person is already, somebody is liberated, then he doesn't need any shraddha or anything. So still he is asking to do, so this is just to set an example. So Sri Krishna says, Madangas prashnenaiva sarvashaha putasyate pituhu papa shanka eva nasti. That because your father is completely purified, being touched by me, there is no possibility of any sin remaining. Preta karyani pretasya krityani kuru. Yet we perform the ceremony required for a dead person. Kevalam vyavahara rakshartham. This is only to protect the standard, the samskaras, the custom. Otherwise people will think Prahlad did not do it, so we also don't do it, because we are an ideal person. So simply for lok maryada, for protecting the dharma, yadiyada acharti shrestha tatta devitrojana, whatever the great people do, the common person follows. So therefore you perform that. Although there is no need for this. Because what was the need for it? पित्र्यं च स्थानमातिष्ठ यथोक्तं ब्रह्मवादिभिः मय्यावेश्य मनस्तात कुरु कर्माणि मत्परः. And then he says that after this you accept the post of your father. Pitriyam cha sthanam atishta. Yathoktam Brahmavadibhi, spoken by the Brahmavadis. And fix your mind on me and then perform your duties being devoted to me. Karmani Kuru Matpara. So that means he is leaving Prahlad behind to take care of the family in the Daityas so that they can continue and he can guide them. Otherwise, Prahlad says, well, why shall I live here? And why should I live among the Daityas? Then the Daityas will again become frivolous, start doing again religious things. But if Prahlad rules over them, then he will not allow that. So therefore he leaves Prahlad to rule over them, to maintain them. And this was Prahlad's desire earlier, that he wanted these Daityas to be liberated. So that is the way they will be liberated. If Prahlad is ruling them, he is a devotee and he will make them perform devotional activities, so they will be liberated. So this is the order he gave to him. And there is some commentary on this. So yadyapi mad bhaktasya tav nasti karma adhikar. You are my devotee and there is no adhikara, eligibility for you to engage in karma. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyate yavata mad kathasram nadava shraddha yavan na jayate. So basically there is no need for you to engage in karma. So karmanyeva adhikaraste mahapaleshu kadachana, as Krishna says. So Prahlad is beyond that because he is a devotee. Madagya eva vyavahar rakshayai karmani kuru. But only following my order you perform karma, so that the people in general, they will also engage in karma. They need to do it. So the difference is that you do it being matpara, being devoted to me. Karmashu shraddha sunni. So the meaning is that you don't have faith in karma. When Krishna says sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, does not mean giving up dharma physically, but not giving up is through faith, not having faith in it. But I don't have faith in it, my faith is in bhakti. So when you have faith in bhakti, you lose faith in karma. That is the meaning of giving up. So giving up does not mean yagyadana tapaskarma natyajyam karyameva. These yagya, dan, tapa, this should be performed, should not be given up, but should not be performed for getting the result of karma, but for the sake of bhakti. So therefore it says vyavahara rakshayai karmani kuru matparati karmasu shraddha sunni. Ityatah karmanam karanam api akarana eva parivashyati. Then for your performance of your karma will be as good as not doing them. So kim karma kim akarmeti kavyapyatra mohita. So what is karma and what is akarma? Karma does not mean not doing karma. because not doing anything is also karma. So karma means that doing karma without desiring its fruit, or doing it without any faith in it. That is called a karma. So jnanis, they have one understanding, bhaktas, they have another understanding. So mashucha iti bhava. So therefore do not lament, because Prahlad may think, why he has put me into this trouble, making me in charge of all this daitya, and that also for such a long period. So he says, do not worry about that. So Narada vacha prahladopi tatha chakre pitri yat samparayikam yatha bhagavan rajan abhishikto dvijottami. So therefore Prahlad, he followed the order of Lord Nrsimhadev. He performed the cremation ceremony of his father, and he was installed as the ruler by the Brahmanas. Prasada sumukham drishtva brahma narharim harim stutva vagabhi pavitravhi praha devadabhirvata. So previously Brahma, he came, he recited some prayer. Then Shiva came, then other devas came, they all recited, but nobody had the courage to go near him, because he was in an angry mood. Now everybody realizes that his anger is gone. So therefore it says, Prasada sumukham drishtva. When Brahma saw that Lord is in a good mood now, so then he approached. Then he came near him. Brahma narharim harim stutva vagabhi pavitravhi praha devadi deva. Surrounded by other devas, Brahma approached the Lord, and then he again recited some prayers in his pure speech. So that we will read tomorrow. What he will say now. Any question? There is no commentary in the verses.
इक्कीस डायनेस्टी आगे और 21 डायनेस्टी पीछे तर जाते हैं, या केवल 21 डायनेस्टी आगे वाले तरते हैं?
पहले वाले.
पहले वाले.
So, for example, martial arts or playing tennis with someone, is that also a form of violence?
It is what?
Is it also a form of violence?
Yeah, violence is everywhere.
If you put a mask on your face, it's okay.
Jiva jivasya jivanam.
Yeah.
It's Bhagavatam explaining. So give up material desire. Good idea. No harm done. No loss.
But because there is this feeling of incompleteness, then there's a search outside of being complete, to feel complete. That's why we are searching outside, and then there's this kind of violence.
Yeah, but you will never feel completed by that search. You can only feel complete by prema, not by kama.